everybody, it's me, Willow, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have such a fun video, a video that I've been waiting to make all year, and this is going to be my what you need to know for TIFF 50. Yes, I am so excited, guys. In like 10 days, it is going to be TIFF50, the 50th anniversary of the Toronto International Film Festival. I am so pumped. This is going to be my 5th year attending the festival. I think this is like a perfect way, 50th year, my 5th year. Oh, I'm so excited. Last year was my first like really intense year going to the festival. I ended up seeing a total of 22 feature-length films and 9 shorts. And that was the most I've ever done at a festival before, and I had the best time ever. I was really exhausted afterwards, but it was so worth it. And I'm ready to fully dive back into this year, and I wanted to, discuss some of my plans and maybe give you guys some tips, like everything that you need to know for attending the 50th anniversary of the Toronto International Film Festival. So here is my personal curation of films that I am interested in. It is 3 pages long, and I feel like I'm missing some things, but this is what I'm mostly interested in. I went through like the whole film list, and these were the things that stuck out to me the most. I divided it by all of the categories, the presentations, and I also have a little legend at the top. So you can see in yellow is what I have a ticket for. The pink is free tickets. So nothing's been highlighted just yet. I want to do like a recap at the end. So I'm going to highlight movies that I'm able to get free tickets to. Must-sees are in the bright blue, and then interesting films, like more appealing than just what's on the list, is in the bright green. So I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but I'm definitely going to go through a couple of the big ones. In the centerpiece category, we have Blue Moon, which is Richard Linklater's one of his newest films, one of two of his films at the festival this year. This premiered at the Berlin Film Festival back in February, and I'm pretty excited about this one. Honestly, I think it's kind of weird that it's in centerpiece because centerpiece is more for like international films, and like I guess Blue Moon's kind of international, but it's like Richard Linklater American. So yeah, I'm excited about that one. A must see for me is The President's Cake from Hassan Hassadi. I really want to see that film. It did really well at Cannes, I believe, and it is on one of my fantasy film balls teams for this year. I'm in 2 different drafts, and on one of my teams, I have The President's Cake, or it might actually be on both teams. I can't remember. I'd have to double check. I also want to see The Two Prosecutors, one of the highest rated films from the jury at Cannes. So I'd really like to see that film. Caroline looks very interesting as well. A new Samora Weaving film. Just watched Eeny Meeny the other day, and I think this one may be more interesting than Eeny Meeny. Bloodlines is a Canadian film that I think is interesting. It's a queer film, indigenous film, so I'm going to try and rush that one. I'm also going to try and rush Left Handed Girl. That is the partner, collaborator, Sean Baker. She's worked on a lot of his films, and I would like to see her newest film. I also have in the Discovery 2 films I'd really like to see. I have Baby Star. I think this one looks really interesting. It's about like a young influencer and how her family kind of forces her to be an influencer. So I think that one looks really cool. I'm planning on rushing it. Lil Lorraine is based in Cape Breton and has Stephen Amell in it, and it also has Sean Astin in it as well. So I think I'm going to try and rush that film too. I think it looks pretty interesting. I've entered a contest to try and get to free tickets to see Dinner with Friends. I feel like that's been advertised quite a bit, so I hope that one is good. And now we're getting to special presentations, which is just like insane. There are so many films I need to see in special presentation. I don't know how I'm going to organize this. I'm going to have to sit down this week and really organize it because it's coming up. It's like next week. So, Sentimental Value, I really want to see Sentimental Value. If things go to plan on the 4th, I'm going to try and rush it. But I don't know. I feel like people are probably going to be waiting all day to try and get into that one. And I know it's very popular. Obviously, out of Cannes, it won the Grand Prix. So worst person in the world, like it's Joachim Trier. So I'm really excited about this one. I think it's going to do great in the awards season. And on the 4th, my plan is to try and do the Criterion Closet, but I haven't quite figured out what I'm doing because I have to work out of town on the 3rd. So I think I'm going to try and go into the city the night before, sleep over, and then go line up at like 5 a.m. for the Criterion mobile van. And I'm going to try and get in there, try and get my 3 purchases, and then after that, head straight for Sentimental Value. But I don't know. I think the Criterion mobile truck is from it's from 1 to 4, I believe. So if I get in before 4, I will only have a couple hours to be in the line, like maybe 3 to 2 hours maximum, depending on how early I get into the van. So I don't know, guys. That's the plan. I'd really like to. And then after Sentimental Value, I'd like to rush the Midnight Madness of Nirvana, the band, the TV show, the movie. I tried to get tickets to that one and it was sold out. So, yeah, I will see. That's kind of the plan. If that doesn't work out, there is a Charlie XCX film I'd like to see as well that's playing at 3 o'clock that day. So, that's something else for the 4th. I have a couple different ideas for the 4th. Also, in special presentations, one of the biggest films of the festival is Guillermo del Toro's new of Frankenstein. I am so excited to see Guillermo del Toro's take on Mary Shelley's classic. I'm a big fan of the novel. I studied it in university in my Gothic literature class, and I'm a huge Guillermo del Toro fan. Over the summer, I feel like my love for him has really grown, and I've watched some of the films I haven't seen of his, and some of his films I haven't seen in a long time. Give them a rewatch, and I just love him, and I think Oscar Isaac is fantastic, and I'm really excited for them to give the creature more of a backstory and for Jacob Elordi to attempt that. And I'm also a big fan of Mia Goth. Like I said, I got to see Pearl in 2022 and Mia Goth was there. So I'm excited for Mia Goth to be in the film too. I think it's going to be a fantastic one. I'm definitely going to try and rush that. There's a couple showings, so I think we're going to try and rush the premiere. And if I can't get into the premiere, then I'll probably rush one of the morning shows because I think that I'll get a better chance of getting into it. So we'll see. Another must one is If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. This did great out of, was it Cannes or Sundance? I can't remember which one it was, but I'm very excited about this one. It is rose glass, kind of like a thriller, kind like postpartum, but not postpartum. Like, I'm very interested in this one. It's one of my top films I want to see at the festival. I will be rushing. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. The Testament of Anne Lee. This is going to be a popular title. I was not interested in The Brutalist whatsoever, but The Testament of Anne Lee, I am sat for this musical. Amanda Seyfried. I think this one's going to be fantastic. I will definitely be rushing it. Surat, great reviews out of Cannes. I would really like to see this one as well, so I'm planning on rushing it. Same with The Sound of Falling, similar. I would plan on rushing this one too. Then we have some interesting ones. Also, hoping to rush these: The Smashing Machine, Sacrifice, The Voice of Hindi, Rahab, and The Secret Agent. I think all of these are definitely ones that should be on your list, and I'm interested in rushing all of them. The Ballad of a Small Player, I think I'm probably going to pass on, depending on the timing of things. Maybe I'll try and fit it in there, but it's going to go on Netflix in a couple months. I do love Colin Farrell, so I think it would be very interesting. I think the gambler kind of idea is cool, and I love when Colin just like gives his all in a role, but depending on my schedule, that one just may be cut this year. But I did love Conclave. So if Edward Berger gives us a similar thing to Conclave rather than All Quiet on the Western Front, I'm gonna have to wait and hear about the reviews. If people say it's good, then I'll go and try and see it. Must watch is Just an Accident, the winner of the Palme d'Or at Cannes. So I have to go and see this one. Definitely. I think this one, I'm not so sure about its strengths for like best picture, but it could be in there. I feel like it's in my top 15, I think. I took it out of best picture a little bit ago, and I think it's in my top 15, but I think for international feature, it could do pretty well. Then I have some more interesting ones. I think I'm going to try and see maybe like Scarlet, A Poet, Train Dreams, maybe Turner. I don't know. Train Dreams is apparently has some like good rumblings. I also have that on one of my fantasy film ball teams. So it'd be nice to see that because we get points for the films that we see. I have a ticket to see Dead Man's Wire, Gus Van Sant's new film. I'm going to go see that with my aunt. We're seeing the premiere. I'm so excited. We are really hoping to see Al Pacino, and me and my aunt, we're go-getters. So we're going to try and get the best seating possible. It's in the Princess of Wales, and that's the best way to get near the stars and the directors. So there also is Bill Skarsgård in the film. We have Dacre Montgomery in it too, Coleman Domingo. So I hope all those guys show up because I'm a big fan of all four of those actors. And they also do like Gus Van Sant's old films from like the 90s. So I'll be interested in his take of this like hostage thriller film. So I'm excited to see that one. We're seeing it on Sunday the 7th. So it's going to be a great time, a great kickoff. That is my first ticketed film that I have. So going to see it with her. We're seeing it at noon, which is actually very cool because the year before we went and saw two films on the first Sunday as well. And the first film was at noon. So that we had tickets for. So really, really like it's, good vibes, right? Then I have some more interesting stuff. I'm a big Degrassi person, so I may go and try and see the Degrassi Whatever It Takes documentary. We'll see what my schedule is looking like. Same with Epic, Elvis Presley in concert. I love Baz Luhrmann. He's one of my favorite directors of all time. I love his stuff, and I would love to see what he does with like archival work because it's a very different medium for him, even though I know he is a very visual person and he does a lot of research before all his films. So obviously he worked with archival stuff a lot, but he's never like put it into a format of a film before. So I'd like to see it. Hedda is going to be rushed. I don't know why I have it as interesting. I think I should put it as a must watch because I'm in love with Tessa Thomas, and I have to go see this film. Even though this is going to be on Amazon in November, I would really like to see Hedda. I think this one's going to be fun. I think it may just be like a mediocre film, but like I said, I'm there for Tessa Thompson. So I will be rushing that one. Nouveau Vague is Richard Linklater's other film that he has at the festival. This one premiered at Cannes. I think this one got pretty good reviews. It's about Breathless, the French New Wave film. So I think I may try and rush this one too because I like Zoe Dolce and I like French New Wave cinema. So we will see. We will see. In the gala presentations, we have made our way here. Must watch is no other choice. I think I will try and rush the premiere for this one too. I know this one's going to be very popular. This one is going to be huge. Park Chan Wook is really big right now with all of his films. Last one was Decision to Leave, and he also has like The Handmaiden. Big fan of that one. That's the only Park Chan Wook film I've seen, so I feel like I need to catch up on a couple of them. I need to watch Decision to Leave, I think, before the festival. And yeah, I'm gonna try and rush this one. If I don't get into the premiere, I think I'll try and rush it at a later date, and we will see. Eternity, I think this one looks really great with Elizabeth Olsen, Miles Teller, and Callum Turner. This one looks really fun, so we're gonna try and rush that one. Glenn Rothen with Brian Cox. I think this one's going to be fun. I'm a Brian Cox fan, so I'm going for Brian Cox. It's his directorial debut, I believe. He's also starring in it, so I'd like to go see it. Good Fortune. It's coming out with Mongrel, which is a Canadian distribution company, and I really want to see this one. It is directed by Asin Asari, and it has him starring in it as well. It has Seth Rogen in it. It has Keanu Reeves. So this one is a must rush, or I'm hoping I can get a ticket, Mongrel. I'm really, really hoping. I'm also hoping to rush Hamlet with Chloe Zhao, or not Hamlet, Hamnet, sorry. I think this one is going to be cool. Big Paul Mescal and Jesse Buckley fan, and I'm a big Shakespeare fan as well. English manor here. I took 16th century literature by choice as as an elective, guys, and it's elective. It was ridiculous. I was the only person who took an elective, and everybody else was English majors. It was a crazy class, but I would really like to see Hamnet. I think this one is getting, kind of some quiet buzz, and I think this one could be a quiet or like sleeper awards hit. So that one's going to be exciting. In the prime time, I have Wayward. I really like to see that one. It's directed by Mae Martin and Ryan Scott. I really do like Mae Martin. I like I've seen one of their comedy series, and I've also watched their show on Netflix. I'm forgetting what it's called. It's slipping my mind, but it's a really great show. It has 2 seasons. I'd like to see some of their other comedy specials as well. I've only seen Sap, I think that's what it's called, and I didn't like love it, but I think this one's going to be cool. I guess it's actually a mini series. I just double checked. It's coming out on Netflix, which makes sense because May has a I think a contract with Netflix, but it has Tony Collette in it. So I would really like to go see it. I'm assuming they're going to show like the first episode. So I think that's definitely going to be a rush that I would like to see. It's also like Canadian, so that's always great. I try to get a couple Canadian films and, represent the Canadian Film Festival. Sammy Wedding is a Swedish film that looks interesting. I think it looks very visually cool, so I'm gonna maybe try and rush that depending on my schedule. I have a ticket for Put Your Soul in Your Hand and Walk. I was able to get that one. I'm very excited about this film. This one came out at Cannes right before it happened, the main like narrator and like protagonist of the film was murdered in a bombing. So I would really like to go see this film and see her story be told. So I'm excited I was able to get my hands on tickets to do that. I'm seeing that on Wednesday the 10th. I'm seeing that at 12:30, and then later that I'm probably gonna maybe rush something after that, and then I'll probably go get dinner. And then depending on how the timing goes, I then see Lady Gaga that night. So Lady Gaga comes to the city at the same time as the Toronto International Film Festival. She's coming for 4 nights, I believe. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be madness. I'm seeing her opening night. It's going to be so much fun. And if you thought that was enough, after Lady Gaga, I'm not going to bed. I'm going to the Midnight Madness premiere of Fuck My Son. So that's going to be so much fun. I knew that I was going to be too high on adrenaline to just be able to go to bed. So it actually kind of worked out well that this premiere happened on the Wednesday. So I'm going to go and see this show right after the concert. So I am so excited. It's going to be a good one. The timing should be great because curfew is usually 11 p.m. and we usually try and line up for Midnight Madness, I believe, at 11:30. So Scotiabank Arena, where Lady Gaga's happening, and I believe this one's happening at the Princess of Wales, or maybe it's happening at Alexandria. I'd have to double check where it's happening, but I'm excited for Wednesday. It's going to be intense and I'm going to be exhausted, but luckily my Airbnb is very close and it's going to be so fantastic. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I'd really like to see Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie as well. I'm planning on rushing it on the 4th if all things work out right. If not, I'm going to have to try and rush it on the other day, but I know it's a very popular title. So we will see, but I would really like to see it. I got to see Matt Johnson in Matt and Mara last year, and that was fantastic. Got to hear him talk. It was a really awesome time. So I'd love to see it again at the Midnight Madness, preferable just because I know it'd be the most awesome experience to see Nirvana, the band, the TV show, the movie, at a Midnight Madness in Toronto, of all places. But we will see. We will see. I know it's highly in demand. And then another Midnight Madness I'd like to try and see is Dust Bunny. This is a collaboration between Brian Fuller and Mads Mikkelsen, back from Hannibal. This is our first collaboration since Hannibal. And as a fan of that show, I'd like to try and see Dust Bunny. So we will see if I have time to rush this film. Usually by after my last show around like 9:30, like 10 o'clock, I'm pretty exhausted and it's hard to, rush the Midnight Madness and then stay up for it and then go back to your Airbnb for like 3 a.m. So we will see. But those are my 3 Midnight Madnesses, and I'm going to one at least, and I'd like to go to all 3. So we will see. We will see how it goes. But these are definitely some of the big titles and the ones that I'm most interested in, and I can't wait, guys. It's going to be so amazing for TIFF50. Now, if you were an avid movie lover like myself and you are on a bit of a budget, you can't afford to buy every single ticket that you want to during the pre-sale or during the general sale, and a lot of the time they sell out instantly as well. So you are going to want to join the rush line. And if you are an avid rusher and you know that you are going to see multiple rush shows, you should definitely get the rush pass. So if you are 25 and under, last year for 2024 it was $80, and I got that purchase. And every time I went into the rush line, when you would be accepted into the film, all you had to do was show your rush pass and they would just let you go up into the film. You didn't have to pay for anything because you already paid for your rush pass. So it's one price for all the movies depending on how many you end up seeing. So if you see 2 films with the rush pass, you basically get the price of the rush pass if you're under the 25. The majority of the films I saw last year are rush films. I got to see big films like The Seed of the Sacred Fig through Rush. I also saw Riff Raff, which was one of the biggest films of the festival last year. A lot of positive word of mouth. I got to see that through the Rush. I got to see The Fire Inside with director and the actor through Rush. I got to see quite a few awesome films. I got to see Baby Girl with the director. I got to see all these fantastic films because I rushed. The only negative side of the rush is that you are in the rush line for quite a long time and you are not guaranteed a seat. If it's a very popular title, you will want to get there very early. And I mean, a few hours in advance, like at least over 3 hours in advance, depending on how popular a title is. For sentimental value on opening night on the 4th, I'm hoping I will give myself enough time from the Criterion Closet when I get out to getting into the rush line, but that could be cutting it very close because that's one of the most popular titles of the festival. Same with Frankenstein. That's not one I am guaranteed to get in, but I will be planning on rushing it possibly multiple times. Last year, I tried to rush The Last Showgirl and I did not time it good enough. I was one of the last cut off. So if I had gotten there just a little bit earlier from my last screening, if I'd left my last screening earlier instead of staying for the whole thing, I probably would have gotten into The Last Showgirl. And then I tried to rush The Last Showgirl the second time, and I still did not get into it. So you never know, you're never guaranteed a seat, but a lot of the time, I would say like 95% of the time, you do get in. But you just have to be prepared that you are waiting a couple hours. I would say if you are at the Scotia Bank rush line, you're usually waiting in the line for at least 2 hours before you're getting into a film. If you are at the TIFF Lightbox, even though those theaters are smaller and not as many people can get in, I do find you get through the line faster. At least that's what my experience was last year. I found you were getting into a film about an hour, maybe an hour and a half in the TIFF Lightbox line compared to the Scotiabank line. But usually there are more people in the Scotiabank line compared to the TIFF Lightbox just because there are more theaters at the Scotiabank compared to TIFF Lightbox. I did try to rush The Princess of Wales, like I said, for The Last Showgirl, and I was not successful for that. I haven't tried rushing any other of the main theaters like Roy Thompson or Royal Alexandria, and haven't tried. Oh, that's a lie. I have tried to rush Roy Thompson before in my first year at 2019. I tried to rush Joker, and that was I waited in line for quite a few hours and I did not successfully get in. I think only like 2 people got into that film. So it's definitely an experience waiting in the rush, like it's rain or shine. I was stuck in the rain last year a couple times, and sometimes it's very hot outside, and then sometimes the weather will change and it will have a cold front. So you never know. Definitely bring appropriate clothing and shoes. If you can, maybe get one of those like small foldable stools. I think I'm going to try and find one of those at like Walmart or Canadian Tire because that would be super helpful because you do not want to be sitting on the pavement in Toronto with the feces and the urine. It's just disgusting. So do not sit on the ground in Toronto, whatever you do, like just don't do it. So I would suggest maybe trying to find one of those. I've also seen those like pop-up stands that has like a hook. Maybe I'll try and find one of those like that you can like sling over your body. I feel like people use those at festivals and concerts. I think that would be perfect for something like this. I don't know about like a foldable chair, but some people do bring foldable chairs, but it is quite tight in the theaters, and sometimes with your big bulky bag, it's already hard enough for people to walk by in the aisles. And if there was an emergency, just think about that. And you don't want to be carrying like a huge foldable chair. So if you have like a small little stool that's foldable, I think that could be like a good idea for rush lines. So yeah, those are my advice for rush. I think it's definitely a good idea. I think it's something everybody can do no matter the age. You just have to be prepared to wait in line. That's the only thing. So bring a book, bring some music, be prepared to like meet people in line. I met this really great girl last year when I was waiting in line for The Last Showgirl. We both didn't manage to get into the film, but we kept in contact over Instagram, and she's super kind, and hopefully we'll be able to meet up again this year at the festival. But yeah, you never know who you're going to meet in the rush line. So rush is always super fun and you never know what to expect. So it was impossible to fit this all into just one video. So make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel because part 2 of what everything you need to know for TIFF50 is going to be out in only a couple of days, should be out this weekend. I'm just going to be editing it over the next couple of days and then it will be coming out. I'm going to have everything you need to know about the major theaters like TIFF Lightbox, Roy Thompson Hall, Princess of Wales, Royal Alexandria, and the Scotiabank Theatre. I also give you some food advice. I also talk, Festival Street. I talk the Criterion mobile truck. There is a lot of things I'm going to be discussing in part two of everything you need to know for TIFF50. So make sure you give me a subscribe and hit the notification button so you get a notification when part two drops. It should be coming out this weekend. So thank you guys so much for watching part one of my TIFF video. I'm so excited. It's getting so close. It's just right around the corner. And as you can see, there are so many movies to be excited about this year for the 50th anniversary of the Toronto International Film Festival. I am so excited. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help me. All the engagement really does push my videos out into the algorithm. So thank you so much for your support. Like I mentioned, please give me a subscribe if you like all pop culture content, like film stuff. If you're interested in other pop culture content, go find me on TikTok where I post daily pop culture content. I have all of my other contact and like social media information in the description box, so make sure you check me out on all other platforms like Letterboxd and Awards Expert. I am so excited for part two, so make sure you stick around, and I will see you in part two of my TIFF 50th video. Bye.